Welcome to the Equipped Disciple channel. My name is Rick McClatchy. We are here to be and to make disciples of Jesus, and we do that through daily devos, through Sunday sermons, and through other discipleship resources. We are here to equip you. Hey, what's happening, everybody? Welcome in. We are jumping into day 11 of our Building a Bible Habit in 2026. So this is what we are working on. We are in Mark chapter 11 today. So let's go ahead and just jump on in to the text. We're going to start in verse 1. Seems like the best place to start. When they approached Jerusalem at Bethphage and Bethany near the Mount of Olives, he sent two of his disciples and told them, "Go into the village ahead of you. As soon as you enter it, you will find a colt tied there, on which no one has ever sat. Untie it and bring it. If anyone says to you, 'Why are you doing this?' say, 'The Lord needs it, and I will send it back here right away.'" So they went and found a colt outside in the street, tied by a door, and they untied it. And some of those standing there said to them, "What are you doing, untying the colt?" And they answered them just as Jesus had said. And so they let them go. It's crazy how when Jesus says something, he means it. He follows up on it. So they brought the colt to Jesus and threw their clothes on it, and he sat on it. Many people spread their clothes on the road, and others spread leafy branches cut from the fields. Those who went ahead and those who followed shouted, "Hosanna! Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. Blessed is the coming kingdom of our father David. Hosanna in the highest heaven." He went into Jerusalem and into the temple, and after looking around at everything, since it was already late, he went out to Bethany with the 12. And the next day, they went out from Bethany, and he was hungry. All right, thought maybe you were missing me. You were missing my face. I want to bring my face back on the screen, but so let's go ahead and jump into the next one. Seeing in the distance a fig tree with leaves, he went to find out if there was anything on it. When he came to it, he found nothing but leaves, for it was not the season for figs. He said to it, "May no one ever eat fruit from you again." And the disciples heard it. And they came to Jerusalem, and he went into the temple and began to throw out those buying and selling. And he overturned the tables of the money changers and the chairs of those selling doves, and would not permit anyone to carry goods through the temple. He was teaching them, is it not written, "My house will be called a house of prayer for all nations"? But you have made it a den of thieves. So what was going on here is people would come from a long distance, and they need to make sacrifices, right? So they would bring money rather than animals so that they could purchase sacrifice, so they could make an exchange at the temple. So the actual selling of this stuff wasn't really the problem, because it actually was a service that needed to be happening, because people needed to have an opportunity to get animals for their sacrifices to be able to fulfill their covenant responsibilities. And so, sometimes we can miss the actual reason behind, what's going on in the story, because maybe we misinterpret one of the facts or whatever of the story. So it was the fact that they were massively overcharging people for the things, because they kind of had them, how when you go to a sporting event, we call it a captive audience, right? Like, okay, you're here, you couldn't bring any outside food or beverage into the venue, and so now what you gonna do? You thirsty? Well, are you thirsty? Are you? Well, you're going to have to pay for it. You're going to have to pay $8 for a bottle of water. You're going to have to pay $10 for a Coke or whatever. And it's like, it's so maddening. It's so maddening. But when you're at a ballpark and you decide you're not going to have anything to drink, that's no problem. Man, when you go into the temple and you need to give a sacrifice for the sins, for the Day of Atonement and all that, like, man, this is a huge problem. So they are much more motivated to buy the product anyways, right? Because they need it. So that just makes, and never mind the fact that you could make a case for it's better for us to dissuade you, right, from going to a ballpark and kind of like worshiping, human athleticism or whatever. But when you're going to worship God, you shouldn't have people that are throwing up roadblocks or obstacles in your way for serving God, for offering sacrifices to God. Whoa, so I wouldn't want to be one of those people ripping people off like that. So, so like when you're talking about somebody, maybe wrote a book and they had books on a table in the lobby of the church and they were selling them if people wanted to buy them, or the church has a bookstore, in their lobby. It's okay. It's okay, because that's not what Jesus was like confronting. He wasn't flipping the tables of the bookstore, right? He was flipping the tables of people that were treating people horribly, right? So they were ripping people off and keeping them from being able to worship God with clean consciences. So the chief priests and the scribes heard it and started looking for a way to kill him. So Jesus started to really very clearly, establish the lines between the people that were happy with him and the people that were not happy with him. For they were afraid of him because the whole crowd was astonished by his teaching. Again, because remember, it's been said time and time again, like Jesus taught different. Jesus taught different because he taught like someone who actually had authority. And so whenever evening came, they would go out to the city. This is verse 19. Early in the morning, as they were passing by, they saw the fig tree withered up from the roots up. Withered from the roots up. And Peter remembered and said to him, Rabbi, look, the fig tree that you cursed is withered. And Jesus replied to him, have faith in God. Truly, I tell you, if anyone says to this mountain, be lifted up and thrown into the sea, and does not doubt in his heart, but believes that what he says will happen, it will be done for him. So there's a lot of power in our prayers and confessions when we are in agreement with the word of God. And so pretty powerful stuff there from Jesus. Therefore, I tell you, everything you pray and ask for, believe you have received it and it will be yours. And whenever you stand praying, if you have anything against anyone, forgive him so that your Father in heaven will also forgive you your wrongdoing. Whew. Don't miss this one, right? Like you can have all kinds of people talk about how, man, it's incredible. You can speak to that mountain and have it thrown into the sea, and anything that you ask for, you believe it, God will do it for you. But then he's like, hey, by the way, as you're standing there praying, as you're talking to me, as we're building relationship, we're hanging out together. If you have anything against anyone, forgive them, so that your Father in heaven will also forgive your wrongdoing. Because, man, it's like with the same measure that we judge, we will be judged. So when we show compassion and we show grace and we show mercy, we're going to receive compassion and grace and mercy, because it shows that we are properly receiving from God what he has done for us. And then they came again to Jerusalem, and as he was walking in the temple, the chief priests and the scribes and the elders came and asked him, by what authority are you doing these things? Who gave you this authority to do these things? And Jesus said to them, I will ask you one question. Then answer me, and I will tell you by what authority I do these things. Was John's baptism from heaven or of human origin? Answer me. And they discussed it among themselves. Jesus is a genius. In case you didn't know. In case you didn't know, being God kind of makes you a genius, like that's what Jesus has going on. And so they discussed it among themselves. If we say from heaven, he will say, well, then why didn't you believe him? He'll call him out and be like, you're a hypocrite, obviously, because you're saying it's from heaven, but you didn't do it. But if we say of human origin, they were afraid of the crowds, because everyone thought that John was truly a prophet. And he was, by the way. And so they answered Jesus, oh, we don't know. And Jesus said to them, okay, then neither will I tell you by what authority I do these things. So Jesus was not one to be tricked. He could not be duped. He could not be, painted into a corner, so to speak. Jesus was the master of it all. Because, he created it all and he holds it all together and all that good stuff. So Jesus is awesome. Like, he's the man. We love Jesus. Type I love Jesus in the comments right now, because we need to give Jesus some credit right now. So that is Mark chapter 11. He's flipping tables. He's cursing the fig tree. He's, correcting the Pharisees. He's having compassion on people because that's what Jesus does. And I love that triumphal entry, remember that triumphal entry as he comes in and people are, Hosanna, blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. What's going to happen in just a few days as the story is unfolding of the Passion Week. And so it's going to be quite the ride. And it's kind of shocking, when you take a step back and go, wait a second, a day or two ago, you were like worshiping me. And now you're saying what? So people are fickle. People do crazy things and people follow the crowds and all kinds of stuff. And so we're going to see how that unfolds as Mark lays it out here in his gospel. So with that, just a huge God bless you. Have an amazing day. And I'll see you tomorrow as we continue to build a Bible habit in 2026. If you're getting value out of these videos, if you could just make sure you hit the like button, maybe subscribe to the channel. You could share the video around, and also YouTube is suggesting a video right about here for you to check out. So go ahead and check out the next video. God bless you. Have a great day. Thanks for being a part.